Alright everybody, Michiana Shooting News here. We got a product review for you today. We're going to talk about the Ruger 1022 for all you 1022 fans. Today we have two rifles here. This one was a rifle I just bought recently used. This is one I already owned. Bought this rifle used, wanted to have a trigger job done to it because, as most of you know, the factory trigger on a Ruger 1022 is usually pretty bad. In this case, on this rifle, I elected to have the trigger sent out and done instead of doing it myself after looking at the cost. So first we're going to talk about the trigger itself and who I had do the trigger work. I was looking around online and looking on eBay of all places and ran across someone who had good positive feedback, had a lot of good sales on doing custom trigger modifications to your Ruger trigger, service only. You send the trigger to them, comes back. The company we sent it out to was called C.n.r.a. Tactical Designs. The eBay member name is Cutrell 121110. This service was for a custom 2-pound trigger for a Ruger 1022. The trigger service is about $100 in that range depending on the options you want to get into. The service includes the custom target trigger, and if you can see on there, it includes an extended magazine release and also has the automatic bolt release. This all comes in the trigger package. It's one price. The return shipping is free, so the only cost you have to pay is the shipping out and the cost for the service. So now we're going to compare a factory, totally stock, modern 1022 trigger pulls to the new C.n.r.a. Tactical Designs trigger pulls and see what we come up with. Alright, first we're going to do the factory Ruger 1022 trigger pull and see what it comes out at. And just to show everybody here, we've got a clear gun. We'll do this real quick. Got a mag out, and I'm visually inspecting to make sure it is empty. So we're going to take the gauge. First pull. First pull gives us 4 pounds, 6 ounces. Second trigger pull. 4 pounds, 4 ounces. Third trigger pull. 3 pounds and 15.7 ounces. So, with the Ruger factory rifle, we'll just say for argument's sake that we have an average of a 4-pound trigger in this particular gun. As some of you know, factory triggers in a Ruger can vary from, in this case, 4 pounds as high as 8 pounds in some of the older models. So that's our baseline. We'll go with 4 pounds on this gun. Now we'll come to the C.n.r.a. Tactical trigger. We're going to do 3 trigger pulls on this. As before, we're working with a clear gun. I visually inspected it. Magazine is out. So we're going to clear this and we're going to do 3 trigger pulls and give you the readings to compare it to. First one, 2 pounds and 11 ounces, or 11.5 ounces if you want to be technical. Second trigger pull. 2 pounds, 11 ounces, or 11.9 ounces. And for the last one, 2 pounds, and we'll just call it 10 ounces. So what we have going on here is a significantly reduced trigger pull in the tactical design. Now, something that you can't perceive in the video you're watching is the quality and feel of the trigger. The trigger has perceptually almost no movement. It's all pressure. The trigger breaks. There's very little to no over travel. One thing to mention about this particular trigger job is the trigger reset is actually very noticeable. It's very crisp, even for as light as the trigger is. Now for us, we do a lot of speed shooting. For target shooting, that may or may not be important. But the trigger reset is very easy to pick up, so it gets the best of both worlds for target shooters who bullseye shoot, small bore type shoots. For those of us who shoot steel, it's a good all-around thing. Now what we're going to do in the next phase of this, we're going to take the action out of this gun, get the trigger out. We're going to show you what the trigger looks like on the inside and give you some show and tell about what was done, explain more about the service and the company themselves. We got the gun disassembled and we had the trigger group out. This is the C.o.a. tactical trigger job that we were talking about earlier. This is what it looks like. Essentially on the outside, no difference. If you can see, they try to engrave, usually right here on the trigger, that it was their service, the service had been done. It's pretty light engraving, so you probably can't see it too well. But we're going to talk about the features of it. We're not going to disassemble it. But what you can see has been done here is you have, like I said, the modified mag release. I'm not sure whose bolt release is, but this is the auto bolt release, and it is a aftermarket type one. It's not a converted one that somebody did at home with a Dremel. You can see the target trigger has the overstop, has the over-travel stop in it, has a pre-travel stop here in the top. And just to take the trigger and hold it in your hands, to take a feel for it and just mess with it. The trigger feels just absolutely incredible. When you work the hammer back and forth, there's no grit, there's no drag, nothing makes the trigger feel out of place. And the snap on the trigger is very, very positive. I don't know if they used improved springs, if they tried to use reduced power springs, or if it's factory. I would guess that it might be reduced power springs. But all around, when you send this trigger group out, this is what you're going to get back. Some of the options are offered. If you have a black trigger, you can get a red. You can get a red trigger installed in the assembly. He said you can get them painted any color you want. He does anodizing painting colors. You can get them red, green. You can get them custom schemes wherever you want. They install them all. The parts that are put in are not polymer. This is not a polymer magazine release. This is actually a stainless steel one. So taking a look at it, seeing it overall, this is what you end up with. It's a greatly improved setup. The explanation that was given to me about the triggers is that I believe he uses parts manufactured by the Power Custom Company, but everything in the trigger kit is hand fit and honed into place. This trigger, as you saw earlier, is weighing in a little over 2 pounds. He explained to me that the trigger will break in about 300 rounds to be right at 2 pounds. Compared to all the Ruger 1022 triggers I've worked on, including trigger jobs that have been done by people, this thing is amazing. I looked at kits from Volquartsen, Timney, Power Custom. The best I could come up with was, you want to buy a trigger kit, it's $100 plus shipping just to get it to your house, and then you have to put it in. Sometimes they're mushy, sometimes they don't reset well. Yes, it helps, but I don't think for a $100 bill, you don't have to touch it, that you can beat what this trigger has to offer. And I'll have to say, from a personal point of view, I was very cynical of this trigger work when it was first offered. I just wanted a reduced power trigger put in the gun to make it easier to manage. I wasn't too impressed about, was it this great, was it that great. Marty talked to me, said you will love this trigger, it will give you a different opinion of a Ruger 1022, and you give it a try. So I told him we'd shoot this video, get you a good review of it, and let you know the specifics about it. So, in closing, we'll just say C.o.a. Tactical, thank you very much for the good work you done for us on this trigger. We're very, very happy with it. We're going to take this out and run it in the matches and field it. You'll probably see this gun with this trigger in some later videos. If you want to contact Marty at C.o.a. Tactical, we're going to have the contact information in the video for you here. He's on eBay, but I believe if you want to contact him outside of eBay, you can communicate with him about multiple orders if you want to do other custom work. I know that C.o.a. Tactical is currently offering other services beyond Ruger gunsmithing, and they have some other tactical 22 items and upgrades coming out. So I hope this review was helpful. You might go out and try one of these trigger jobs. If you have any questions for us, reach us at michianashootingnews@gmail.com. You can contact us on our Facebook page or leave comments in the video below.